Okay, so Be'ezras Hashem, we are going to continue with our new series of Shiurim, post-traumatic Torah, and we're going to move beyond the introduction into the next shlav of what we're going to try and uncover from the words of the tzaddikim. And again, what I'm going to try and do, even more so for myself, is to be mitzamsem, and instead of sharing riboy devarim and more words and more ideas, it's going to be about focusing in and minimizing and being mitzamsem to the point that we can come to the innermost nakuda of what we're trying to share. Now, to connect back to last week, we spoke last week ultimately about how we start off with luchos rishonos. We start off with our assumption as how things are going to go in their ideal state. And then, one way or the other, we are going to find ourselves in a state where we need to draw down new luchos. The first luchos break. The first luchos are supposed to break. Yasher koyach asher shibarta. This is the ikr nakuda of the secret of being a Jew, which is that to be a yid is to understand that the first set of the luchos break, because it's specifically in the breaking of the first luchos, in the deconstruction or the breakdown of my previous way of looking at the Torah and myself and the world and Hashem. It's specifically there that I'm able to reveal the power of Tchias HaMesim, where the broken parts of the previous narrative, the broken fragments of the original luchos are not discarded, but rather they're taken and preserved and carried within the aron, within the ark, in order to reveal that it is from the very vestiges and the crumbs and the pirurim and the shirayim and the etzem haluz and the irreducible quintessence of the original luchos that remains even after their shattering, that is in and of itself going to be the shoresh from which the new luchos, the luchos shnios, are born. And therefore, re-including the broken luchos within the aron is not just a nod to the importance of the broken luchos, even though we don't deal with them anymore because we have a completely new perspective of the luchos, but we don't want to insult the broken luchos and we wanted to show kavod to it. That's an external way of looking at it. The internal way of looking at it is that without the quintessential essence, the quintessential essence of the original Luchos Rishonos being included within the redevelopment of the Luchos Shnios, then the Luchos Shnios will never be able to develop. The Luchos Shnios, the secret of the Luchos Shnios is that the Luchos Rishonos, our original conception of this world, in spite of the fact that it gets traumatized, it has built into itself, in case of emergency break glass type of situation, that enables it to be reborn and to reemerge into the new form of the Torah, into the Torah of Atikas Tima'a, that is necessary for the secret of the Balei Tshuva, for the secret of those who have had their first element of the Luchos break. And so these remnants of the original Luchos are the remainder of the Aleph that remains buried within the centermost point of the base, like we discussed in the name of the Arizal, that the original Torah, the Torah of pre-trauma, the Torah before the breaking, was the Torah of Atzilus, was the Torah of Aleph. Everything was reflective of Anochi Hashem Elokecha, the silent Aleph that reverberates throughout existence at every moment. It's the second expression of the Torah, which starts with a beis, Bereshis, which represents the Torah of Bria, the Torah of Bina, the Torah of separation, fragmentation, disorientation, and the post-traumatic elements of human experience once it has broken and fallen apart. And so we said, in the name of the Rebbe, in the name of the Tzaddikim, that in truth, even though we operate only in the Torah of Beis, in the Torah of Bria, in the Torah of Bina, in the Torah of post-trauma, in the Torah of separation, in the Torah of after the fall and after the fact that something has broken or taken place that I can't retrieve, in spite of the fact that we operate in a post-traumatic form of subjective formation, spiritually, psychologically, etc., nevertheless, there remains the innermost point of the Torah of Atzilus, the Os Aleph, that is the tiny dot in the middle of the base. And that was the secret of Bo El Paro. Bo El Paro, Moshe Rabbeinu being called to the palace of Paro, is being forced to confront the trauma itself, which is why Moshe Rabbeinu was Dachil Mine. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want to look at that place, at the existence of Tzimtzum. How could it be that there's a need to transition from the first Luchos to the second Luchos? How could there be something in this world that creates such an expression of concealment that I can no longer find strength in the original conception of Luchos Rishonos? That place is the place of Tzimtzum. Moshe Rabbeinu was afraid of looking there, until HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Bo El Paro. The Zohar Kadosh says, it shouldn't say Bo El Paro. Why is Hashem implying, come forth to me in the palace of Paro, as if I'm already there, says Hashem? It should be Hashem calls out to Moshe from outside of the house of Paro and says, Moshe, you have to go in there. The secret is that Boel Paro, Hashem is there also. The only ability to traverse that traumatic area and that reflection of trauma, which is the overwhelming light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's expression in that moment, devoid of vessels that can receive it, which is the secret of Tzimtzum, the only way from the Luchos Rishonos to the Luchos Shnios, from the pre-trauma to the post-trauma, is attaching ourselves to the secret that Boel Paro, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is always there with us. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is never forcing us to write the narrative on our own. Our ability to rewrite the narrative is inherently built into the original narrative even prior to its breaking. That built into the original narrative of Luchos Rishonos, of our previous grasp, is the secret in case of emergency break grass revelation, which is that when the Luchos Rishonos shatter, as they will inevitably, because that's what Moshe Rabbeinu is praised for understanding the inevitability of it, and not being surprised or re-traumatized and saying, oh, if it broke, I can't start again, but rather the full awareness that the breaking was going to take place, just like Adam HaRishon was aware, because we're creations, and we're not creators. That Yasher Koach Asher Shibarta, Moshe Rabbeinu had the wisdom to understand that, okay, it breaks and then it gets rebuilt. If he thought that it was an actual breaking and that it would be a full breaking, he never would have let go of the Luchos. Moshe Rabbeinu had the deep understanding of Yasher Koach, and how from the Chelim itself, which is the Sofei Tevos of Le'enei Kol Yisrael, the end of the Torah, which is the binyan of the vessel, which is the shattering that gives birth to more ore, Moshe Rabbeinu understood that. The tzaddikim understand this, which is why their Torah is the only way to traverse that boundary. They're the ones who help us be okay with the fact that, no, it breaks, but then it gets rebuilt in a way that is stronger than it was even when it was built prior. And in that koach of Yasher Koach Asher Shibarta, all of the broken vessels continue to be part and parcel of the renewed narrative, and they're contained within the Aron themselves, which is our ability to try and connect ourselves to the Bo El Paro, to the secret that the Aleph rests hidden within the base. That the Aleph of the Torah of Atzilus, that original Torah, that pristine Torah, that Torah of everything being okay, that deep secret that everything is okay, that's concealed, but it's hidden within the Torah of things not being okay. And the redevelopment of the Torah from the post-traumatic perspective of things not being okay must always be built upon the irreducible remnant, the Etzem Haluz of the original Torah, which is the Os Aleph, which is the secret of connecting above and below through the transition of the middle. And that's Bo El Paro, going from the Beis to the Aleph, transforming the out-of-order nature of our post-traumatic life and attaching itself back to that place where things were in order, to the Torah of Atzilus, to the Torah of Aleph. And as the Torah's Chacham, if the Torah's Chacham is bringing this down, the Torah's Chacham as the full expression of the Rashash, and the name of which and the tzaddik upon which the Rebbe Shlita bases so much of the external nature of the Beis Medrash, the name of the Beis Medrash, as well as the inner understanding of how to grapple and deal and understand Pnimius HaTorah in a way that is going to be reflective, redemptive, healing for each and every experience in life, is through Rav Chaim de la Rosa, through the Torah of the Torah's Chacham. And if the Torah's Chacham is bringing something down, the halacha, and not only that, but he's bringing it down twice, so then it means that it has a practical application to the person's experience in this world. And what the Torah's Chacham explains is that in spite the fact that we function completely within the realm of the Torah of Bria, within the realm of the Torah of separation, within the realm of the post-traumatic Torah, within the realm of the Beis, within the realm of that level of existence that is removed from the original idealism that we had prior to the trauma, in spite of the fact that it appears to operate on its own and without a connection to the original light, nevertheless, on the innermost level of all things, there continues to be a full expression of the Torah of Atzilus, of the Torah of the Aleph, and that Torah remains accessible to us. It doesn't go away. Ein siluk moichen la'olam. The original luchos, when they break, they don't break. They reveal a new level of translatability that allows the original message of that Torah, while maintaining its external vessels and not changing whatsoever, it allows for the transvaluation of the meaning so that it can now become a healing Torah to help me interpret what I need to do in this world, in this moment. That's the secret of the Torah of Atzilus, which still operates within the Torah of Bria. Ein siluk moichan la'olam. The Torah of Atzilus, the pre-traumatic Torah, rests within the post-traumatic Torah in the sense that our only ability to develop a post-traumatic Torah is by way of developing the deepest connection with the deepest point of the pre-traumatic Torah. And that's the secret of the Aleph. That's the secret of Boel Paro, of going from the base of the Aleph. And always remembering that the post-traumatic Torah is not letting go of the original faith. It's not letting go of the original certainty that was beyond the capacity of provability or disprovability. It's not about reneging on the deep bond that we felt. Adraba, Ipcha Mistabra. It's uncovering and isolating those elements of connectivity that remain while getting rid of all of the external dross that has no longer been working. What a person connects to when things fall apart is the essential line of connection that existed, the spine of that experience, and that is the emunah pshuta of the original Torah. The pre-traumatic Torah, Luchos Rishonos, was emunah, it was aleph. All it was an undying faith in something that can never be fully grasped. And in that decision of the self to believe in spite of all things and to connect myself to the medicinal pipeline of Emunah at every moment, so that becomes a love and an attachment that is not based on anything. That's the Torah of the Aleph. Emunah pshuta, tamimus, kabbalas ol malchus shemayim, accepting the validity of this meaning as something that will mark the territory of my life. That must be translated into the new model of looking at the Torah from a post-traumatic perspective. The words of the tzaddikim mean something because the one thing that I maintain is that the words of the tzaddikim mean something. Once I maintain that the words of the tzaddikim mean something, then it is my responsibility to translate those words of the tzaddikim into the language of my post-traumatic Torah. The pre-traumatic Torah of the tzaddikim is that I believe what the tzaddikim say. I believe what the Yechidei Hadoros say. I believe what the Baal Shem Tov says, what the Gra says, what the Rashash says, what the Ramchal says, what Rabbi Nachman says, what the Baal Tanya says, what the living tzaddikim say. We assume and we posture ourselves with belief. That's the Torah of Aleph. With that Torah of Aleph, with the undying belief in the medicinal quality of this Torah and the ability of Derech Emunah B'charti, that I am choosing the path of Emunah, I am choosing to access the ultimate demand to find goodness in this world through the light of the Torah. That's the Torah of Aleph that must remain. That tamimus and pshitas, that undeniability, that stubborn knowledge that is based on a faith that cannot be proved or proven because it's rooted in that which cannot be grasped. It's rooted in the infinite. It's rooted in that which is not known. It's rooted in the unfathomability, on the ungraspability, on the unspeakability, on the unsayability, on the unsingability of any aspect of the essence of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is. I accept by way of